Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is still August the 20th. Shout out to my pops, man. Pops' birthday, August 20th. Shout out to the pops, man. Um, yeah, I got a couple bets that I'm recording right now. It's about 8:35 Eastern Standard Time. I got some bets. I got Fever on the money line, which we talked about yesterday. I took Aces first half. I got 8.5. I got Aces first half team total over 47.5. Hopefully they have a really good first half. Bet it as soon as I saw Brittany Griner and Leah Edwards rolled out because I figured that'll make Connecticut play a little faster, but we'll see. That game doesn't start until 10. Sparks and Dream, I didn't bet, but I do I do kind of like Sparks plus 9.5, man. I might end up pulling the trigger. I found some stuff when I was digging for that game a little bit more. I actually was looking for the slate today and kind of found some stuff that was on the Sparks. So maybe I'll get to the Sparks. 9.5 is a lot bigger, I think. I think it opened 7.5 when I did the show last night. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We got some time. Let's jump into it. Let's get to it for tomorrow, man. Or today, depending on when you're watching the show. We'll start off with Jackson, your AI sports betting tool. I asked Jackson the same player prompt that I've been using. Tonight, it like Jackie Young over her points and rebounds. I think it was 24 and a half. So that prompt is to analyze tomorrow's August 21st WNBA slate to identify the highest value opportunities for player props. Focus on lines that show significant discrepancy against recent 5 game rolling averages, tracking changes in usage rate due to injuries or favorable defensive matchups, specifically targeting matchups and points, rebounds, or assists. Please provide the underlying data, the metrics, the underlying metrics, and reasoning for each recommendation. So Jackson is going through like it's right, literally just thinking right now, and I've been thinking for like the last 45 seconds, and I just kind of finished right at the, I guess at the most opportune time. Um, so we have all overs, and there's seven plays here. And of course, I'm not going through all of them, but the one that Jackson actually likes more than any of the others is Camila Cardosa against the Golden State Valkyries over her 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It says that Cardosa is the textbook definition of the textbook definition of a line lagging the recent data. Her 5 game rolling average sits at 29.8 points, rebounds, and assists, a full 5.3 points above the posted line of 24.5. She's cleared it in 100% of her last 5 games, 80% of her last 10, averaging 28.3. Her season long average of 26.1, which alone clears this line, but her recent spike is what makes this a high volume spot. This isn't random. With Carrington, Jackson, and Diggins all sidelines, Chicago simply doesn't have the perimeter personnel to generate offense the way it normally does. That funnels touches to Cardosa, both as a scorer around the rim and as a rebounder cleaning up her own work and the increased volume of misses. Her last 5 rebound rates is doing the heavy lifting, and the Sky's depleted guard rotation can't stretch the Valkyries' defense enough to pull Cardosa away from the glass. Okay. Cardosa over her boards. Jackson also likes Sydney Taylor over 12.5 points on FanDuel. And Kayla McBride over her threes. Some good looks. I like the Kayla McBride look as well. We'll get into some player props. That is Jackson, linked in the description. You guys check it out if you're interested. Let's jump into this 3 game slate and get these games out the way with. So we'll start off with hold on, before I do that, let me go here real quick. All right, let's go through a couple of these games. So first up, we have the Minnesota Lynx, and they will be in DC tomorrow. This would have been a great game to go to, but he got rolled out. So injury report wise, we have yes, Nafisa Collier is listed as out due to rest. Interesting. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Minnesota's championship a bust for them. So, giving Feet a day off after a 1 day break, and Olivia Miles is listed as probable as well. Didn't see anybody on the report for the Minnesota Lynx. I'm sorry, for the Washington Mystics. They're getting 3.5 points as a home dog. This line opened at 5. Total has come down a little bit as well. And I like the game going under. I do like that. So let's talk about it. So Minnesota, not in the greatest spot in the world for a few reasons, of course. Traveling cross country, so this is 1 day of rest after beating Golden State. Next, this will be their fourth straight road game as well. They got Golden State waiting for them at home on Monday in a revenge spot for Golden State, which we'll talk about in just a second. But Minnesota has won 5 in a row. They've won 9 of their last 10, three straight unders for them. Feels like they're kind of locking in defensively now that the season is kind of winding down. Cheryl Reeve's message is hitting home. So they have been able to win with their defense recently. They held the Golden State Valkyries to, I think, like 3 for 17 shooting, and they only scored like 66 points, and we cashed the under yesterday. I forgot to mention that was the only play that I played yesterday was the under between Minnesota and Golden State, and that was a winner. First half, I like that as well. I told you guys about that one. That one was a winner also, and I think Natasha Howard over her 6.5 boards, she got hooked at 6. Anyway, back to this game. So not the greatest spot for Minnesota for a couple different reasons. And now you're subtracting fee as well. But I mean, at 3.5, you're really kind of just looking for Minnesota to win this game. It's barely a, 2 possession game. On the Washington side of things, they've been really good, especially when they haven't been playing against the Aces. Third straight home game for them, so no travel. You like to see that if you like them. Back-to-back wins. They beat the Sparks in Toronto. Neither one of those teams combined collectively are better than Minnesota. But they've won 8 of their last 10 as well, and they've covered 7 of those as well. So this Washington team is one of the hottest teams in the WNBA. These are the 2 of the hottest teams in the WNBA. This is their matchup of the season between these 2 teams. Washington has played Minnesota tough, man. They won and stole. They stole. I guess I should say they covered and won. Ended up stealing that game back in Minnesota. It's 13.5 point dogs back on June the 21st. And then 3 days later, they went to DC and Minnesota actually beat them, but they only beat them by 3. They actually beat them by 2. Minnesota was laying 8.5 in that spot, and both games went under. Their totals were higher though. They were 169.5. And here we have a total that's at 163. And I do think that this continues to go down, man. I do. Minnesota can win with their defense. I said the same thing yesterday. Washington can win with their defense. I still don't trust Washington offensively when they're playing against a really good defense. Again, the totals are 8-2 to the under in the last 10. Both went under so far this season. I kind of think under is the right play. Washington is a home dog. We know that they've been really good. 8-1-1. ATS is a home dog. Overall as a dog, 20-14-1. So you don't really want to take the other team. I know Minnesota is, the best team in the WNBA, but this could be a little bit of a let up spot for them here. I'm strongly considering, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm strongly considering Minnesota team total under. But I kind of think Washington could struggle to score the basketball as well. So not 100% sure. I did look at Minnesota when they were laying points on the road without fee this season, and they've been good overall. 9-4 against the number without fee at the beginning of the season, of course. But 0-3 ATS in their last 3 without fee when they've been playing on the road. So I got a couple systems on the under as well. One of them is just like road favorites playing their 4th straight road game. They go under about 63% of the time, 71% to the under this season, although that's a pretty small 7-game sample size. And then when you look at the full 63% under spot for teams playing their 4th straight road game and their favorite, if you factor that into just like post All-Star break, 71% of the under. Those 71% of the time those games go under. So I like under. I think I might bet a little. I don't think I'm gonna bet it heavy, but I think I'm gonna bet under 163 is what I'm gonna be on in this game. Kind of lead aside alone. I don't think I'm gonna mess with it at all. I do like the Kayla McBride threes as well. We'll talk about player props when we get to the player prop section. I'm gonna just save all of them for the end. But I like the Kayla McBride threes because that's the only way you can really beat Washington is from the perimeter. And that could also be the reason why this game goes over if Minnesota can get hot from the 3-point line. Real quickly, let me just double check something real quick. I feel like they didn't shoot the ball really, really well last night. It's just you just don't like the spot though. You do not like the spot if you like if you like Minnesota, you don't like the spot for them. They shot 37%, so they didn't shoot the 3 really, really well. Kayla McBride did knock down 3. Olivia Miles knocked down 3. Fee was over 2. Natasha Howard was 0 for 1, and then Courtney Williams was 1 for 2. No, nothing off their bench at all. Just 2 points from Maya Caldwell, and Nia Coffey was 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, and those are the only 2 shots she shot. Dorka Juhas missed her only field goal attempt as well, so they didn't get much from their bench at all. And Washington played some defense at the crib, man. The money baller will show you all of that. Anyway, let's get to this next game. So we got Golden State in Chicago. 6.5 is the number. Let me just double check this one real quick. Let me see where it opened. Make sure I'm not Missing anything? 6.5 is the opener. 167, closer to 164, was the total, and it's gone up. So it opened as low as 162 and a half on BetMGM, and now it's up to 165. So we've seen some money coming in the over, and the spread has pretty much stayed the same. So as far as notes I have in this one, Dejanay Carrington's listed as out. And then on Chicago, and on keeping with Chicago, Kumbuwale is also listed as questionable, and she's been pretty big for them as far as like defensively being able to kind of. I mean, she played some pretty good defense on Asia for a game. Her defense kind of really came in and helped out a lot. Uh, and I think Golden State has a pretty clean injury report. So on the Golden State side of things, this team has been really good. First road game for them after 3 game homestand, though. They were playing really, really good basketball until they ran into Minnesota, which they just can't beat Minnesota. That loss gave them was actually just their first in their last 7 games. They played in 4 straight unders. They do have the rematch against the Minnesota Lynx on Monday in Minnesota, so potential look ahead spot there. We'll see how that goes. But we'll see how this game goes because they could potentially have that one penciled in. We got to remember the last time that these two teams played, Chicago just beat them. It was on the 12th. They beat them 91-71. I'm sorry, Golden State just beat them 91-71. They were laying 8.5 points in that game, and Chicago didn't really want to smoke that game. So Chicago does have 2 days off, a 1 day rest advantage, the second straight home game. So situationally, it sets up really well for them. They beat New York outright as a 4.5 point home dog in their last game, and they played in 3 straight unders as well. 5 of their last 6 is actually going under the number. We're starting to see the totals start to come back down a little bit, just because those 178s and 182s are not hitting in every single game unless it's a super explosive offense. 2 super explosive offenses in those games. So under money is starting to come back in a little bit for sure. Um, I mentioned the spot for Chicago. I mentioned the spot for Golden State. It's a tough game for me, man. It's a really, really tough game for me. I kind of think, I don't know. I kind of think Golden State can. Here's my problem with Golden State. I know that they have the look ahead spot to Minnesota, which they just never can seem to beat Minnesota. Um, Let me just look at the Valkyries real quick. So off a loss this season, 6-3 straight up, 5-4 against the number. Um, 1-3 off a loss and they're on the road, both straight up and against the number. But these games came against really good opponents. They beat the Liberty outright, lost to the Aces back to back, and lost to the Mercury as well. The other thing I wanted to look at was just when they have the rest disadvantage. So rest is less than their opponent rest, and they're actually on the road. And this is what I was thinking. 5-2 ATS. Oh, I'm sorry, 2-5 ATS, failing to cover by about 2.1 points. They've been a favorite in 1, 2, 3 of these games, and the first 4 they were actually dogs. This trend is 5-2 to the under and 2-5 ATS. So it says that they don't cover, and the games do go under. Uh I gotta think a little bit more about this one. Not gonna waste you guys' time. Look like 5-0 to the under in the last 5, though. The first 2 ended up being overs. I just don't like the Valkyries as much when they're playing without the rest advantage. First and foremost, they're really good with the rest advantage. If I just change this to if they have more rest than their opponent playing on the road, 5-1 straight up, 4-2 against the number, they're winning by about 10 points per game. If you do the opposite, 3-4 straight up, 2-5 against the number, they're losing by 1 point per game. So I don't like that the Valkyries are at the rest disadvantage if I wanted them. Sky got some revenge as well. You're not asking the Sky to win the game. You're just asking them to keep it, close. And Sky they've been playing some good ball, man. I think I mentioned it, but just been covering spreads. You know, um, yeah, they've just been covering spreads. So I'm not sure what I'll do with this game, but I think right now it'll probably be Sky nothing for me. Probably Sky nothing for me here. Um, yeah, probably won't play the game though. All right, let's get into the last one, which is the last one is to Portland and Toronto. So surface level, this looks like a really ugly game. I mean, maybe it is. and Portland got the weird initials. The abbreviation is PDX. I think somebody said it's the airport. PDX is the airport. I've never been to Portland before, so I wouldn't know. But we got Portland and Washington, man. I mean Portland and Toronto. I'm gonna be brief on this one. So line sitting about 1.5. Um, I went through it, and to me, it kind of injury report. I mean, I didn't see anything on the injury report. Of course, you want to double check it, but let me just see real quick what I see because I looked, but I didn't see anything as far as injury report for this team. They, of course, the Toronto tempo is where you need the injury report for. So never mind. Actually, just came out. So Maria Conde is out. Marina Mabry is out. Yeah, those are the two players. So this line probably has shifted since I. Let me see. Yeah, dang, it's gone. I was gonna be on Portland plus the 1.5. It's actually gone. I saw a plus 1.5. That line is now going to, -1. I don't really want Portland laying points, but I do think Portland was the right side. I still think that probably on the money line is the right play for Portland, and the Portland team total over is not something that I would be opposed to either. Looks like 2 is available on Caesars right now. That's probably a good number. So for Portland, they haven't played since the 16th. You got 4 days off here, 3-day rest advantage here for them as well. Won back-to-back games against Seattle and Phoenix. And 4 their last 5, they've actually covered as well. 4 their last 5, they've actually won. They've covered all 5 in a row. They've actually covered. So even though they are not going anywhere, in my opinion, they're still fighting. And I don't think that they can catch Dallas, who's in 8th. But if Dallas loses tonight to Indiana, then they'll be about 4-ish games behind them for the last spot. So I don't know. I think, with about 8, 9 games left, Dallas got to really start to pick it up a little bit. This Portland team has actually been playing, some pretty good ball. They've actually covered 7 of their last 10 games. And that was a big win against Phoenix the other day too, especially with the retirement of Diana Taurasi jersey. I know that they were trying to get the win for, and they couldn't. Portland came all the way back and won that game. Big game for Carla Late. Bridget Carlton played well. On the Toronto side of things, I don't like the spot. They've lost 12 in a row. They've failed to cover, but they have covered 4 in a row. They typically get a bunch of points. But I mean, it's just not a really good spot scheduling wise. This will be their 3rd game this week. All of them they actually played. So they started the week off at home, of course, against Indiana. We got that spread right, but then the back-to-back with the flight to Washington, they lost that game. Kept it close though. Played really, really hard, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like them in this spot. They covered that game without Marina Mabry. Now they're back home, less than 48 hours, and they get a much more rested team in Portland. That's actually won both games already, and Portland's covered both games. First, it was in Toronto. They were getting 5.5, won that game by 19, and then the last one, Toronto was actually in Portland, and Portland was laying 2.5, and they won that game by 14. So Portland, I think, is the right side in this game. It's really hard for me to want to take them as a favorite, though. I should have just played the 1.5. I guess I was trying to wait for the injury report, and now that 1.5 is now turned into to +2. It looks like +2.5 is where it is at the time of this recording. But that's what I wrote in my notes. I wrote Toronto +1 or Toronto team total. I'm sorry, not Toronto. Portland +1 or Portland team total over is what I had in my notes. And a couple trends I looked at was just like teams that were getting a ton of points in their last game, but they covered. And then they are favorites in the next game with a little bit of rest, and they don't cover often. And they actually fail to cover by about 4.5 points, 9-2 to the over as well. So that's where the Tempo's team, not that I keep saying Tempo, the Portland Fire's team total came from. It'd be Portland in this game for me. I think maybe on the money line, they should be able to go in here and win this game, against this version of the Toronto Tempo. Even though Toronto has been able to keep some games close, I don't think that they'll win. Hard also for me to want to take Portland laying points on the road, though, just being completely honest. Don't love the game, but it's definitely a Portland spot, in my opinion, with them having a significant rest advantage and them winning both games early this season, not with this much of a rest advantage. And no Mabry out there. I definitely don't want Toronto. So, yeah, those are my thoughts as far as side and total goes. Not the greatest slate in the world. If we're looking at player props, let me just minimize myself really quickly. Let's see, get a refresh here. This is Outlier Shows, always presented by Outlier. You guys check out the link in the description. Let's go back to the top. We got um, Minnesota and Washington. And Kayla, I mean, if you're gonna beat Washington, it has to be from the 3-point line, right? So Kayla McBride, her 3-point prop is probably 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. No juice really. Minus 115 on FanDuel. Already at minus 125 on FanDuel, minus 115 on DraftKings. But yeah, I mean, she's been hitting, right? You can see 8 of the last 10, averaging 3.7. Most of that is this outlier game here against Dallas, where she broke the record. And yeah, I just think that she's in a really good spot. It's a favorable matchup for her. This says neutral as far as 3-pointers allowed, but Washington doesn't give up a lot of stuff in the paint. If we look at the head-to-head matchups, she did struggle in this first game. She went to DC though and hit 5. So shot it really well. Got 14 of them up in that game, and this was a game that they won by 2 without fee. I would imagine that it'll be a few more shots for Kayla McBride as well. If we look at her on the full season, she's also over this number, averaging 2.93 3-pointers made, closer to 3, and 51% hit rate. We go here, we factor in games played without Nafisa Collier, and we can see that it gets even better, especially recently. Over in, what is this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of her last 10. She's going over the number after starting the season off pretty slow. So yeah, I like the spot for Kayla McBride. She'd probably be my favorite player prop over her 3-point prop at minus 115 on DraftKings. Shakira Austin let the whole world down, which I kind of felt like she would. And Kiki Ariafin was the one who had the good game yesterday. When they beat the Toronto Tempo, that front line is really soft. In this game, though, I think Shakira Austin has a nice bounce back. I will be looking at Shakira Austin. Her points are a little bit lower because they were 19.5 yesterday. They dropped them back down to 17.5. I will be looking at Shakira Austin in this game. I think that the one thing that the Mystics kind of struggle with, not the Mystics, the Minnesota Lynx struggle with is like front court play. Like they can really struggle against somebody like Shakira Austin that's going to be a dog down there. They're pretty good on the perimeter. But the dog type players that go down there and grab their own boards, like they can really struggle. And I don't like the cross country travel for them. So I think it's a little bit of a bounce back for Shakira Austin. I'd be looking at Shakira Austin points or her points plus rebounds. Line sitting at 27.5. Her rebounds alone are probably 8.5, 9.5. Okay. So yeah, they got it. They got it kind of juiced. Yeah, closer to, I don't want 9.5 at minus 142. I don't want nothing to do with that. Which means that we pivot to her double-double, which is Novid got it at minus 133. So books already know, man. They know. Shakira Austin should be, she should do well in this spot. Her points, rebounds, and assists. Let's just go look at that real quick. Let's look at the head-to-head. First game, she went under against them. Second game, she had 16, 11, and 3. So she did go over. She barely got to 30, but she did get to 30. And I feel like she's been hooping lately. That's what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of her last 8, she's going over the number. And this was just the Kiki Ariafin game. But yeah, either her or Kiki Ariafin, they have like the same game in my opinion. Would be what I would be looking at in this Washington game. Golden State, Chicago. I kind of like the Cardoso look. I'm not gonna pull it up, but I kind of like the Cardoso look in that game. And then the Portland game, I think Carla Lake. You just gotta bet on Carla Lake, man. She is absolutely amazing. Her and Bridget Carlton, and this team doesn't offer a lot of resistance. So those would be the players that I would be playing. I would be betting on in that game. Not gonna go through all the player props to bring it back up, but yeah, that's what I would be looking at in those games. All right, enough of me chatting. Let's see. Let's get into a quick recap. So for tomorrow, it is probably a Minnesota team total under. I don't like the travel spot for him at all. 3.5 is not a lot to lay. And I know Washington could potentially win that game outright. They've already given them fits. But I think either under a full team total, under, full game under. Minnesota team total is 82.5. I think this is the letdown spot. Under 82.5. I also like full game under as well. I do think that they still bring it defensively. Don't trust Washington offensively. The best number you can get right now, and I'm probably gonna end up playing this just because I only see 183.5 out there. It's on DraftKings. I love catching books slipping. Everybody else got this at 162.5 or 161.5 on Caesars. So 163.5, I like that as well. Um, Minnesota, Washington under 163.5. And I didn't bet any of this. I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna make them red. But that's what I'm looking at. And then I told you guys I like Kalen McBride under. I'm sorry, over 2.5 3-point makes. And Golden State Chicago. I really don't have the strongest opinion. I think Chicago plus the points, just because I don't like the situational spot for Golden State with the look ahead and the rest disadvantage. So be Chicago plus the 6.5 in that game. See where the line goes. Maybe it gets bigger. And I think it's a Portland spot. I do. I think it's Portland team total over or Portland on the money line now because that line is moved. Their money line is, let's see, minus 135 on Caesars. I might get that. I might do that. Minus 135 for Portland. Team total for Portland is 92.5. That's a little too high for my blood. I know Toronto giving it up, but to get to 93, to have to rely on Portland to get 93, I don't think I want to do that. I'd rather just take them on the money line. I do think that they can win the game though. And that'll be it, man. That'll be it. Enjoy the Friday, as always. Appreciate you guys for tapping in, showing love, all that good stuff. Resources that I use are always listed in the description of the video. Jackson Outlier, Moneyballer, ISN. Make sure you guys are checking these out. It's kind of helping you, handicap the games and get through them a lot quicker. And that'll be it, man. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy the hoops, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.